Welcome to Fantasy Legends, my name's Scott, and today we're going to be talking about 10 of the hardest boss fights in Final Fantasy 13. Before we get into the video, please remember to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's get on with the video. Number 10, we have Hecatoncheir, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is Vanille's summon. This summon is based on Greek mythology with giants with 100 hands, and also resembles the Magitech armour from Final Fantasy VI. Two party members in this fight, which makes it difficult in itself, but also the fact that you've got doom inflicted on you adds the extra time limit to this battle. Added to the fact that the Eidolon is actually immune to Fang's saboteur abilities, this just makes it one of the harder fights in the game. What I would suggest doing is, while the Eidolon is charging, have the party use the offensive paradigms, but Fang switch to Sentinel when the Eidolon starts attacking again. This makes the fight infinitely more easier. If you're still struggling with the fight, another thing that you could try is a Photosil, as this allows both party members to begin the battle in haste, allowing you to increase the stagger meter much quicker. Number 9, we have Gigantua. Cactuars being a staple in the series, this one's always a menacing threat when you come against it. Battle can be a pain, as the signature attack of him is 10,000 needles, which does exactly 10,000 damage, which can be devastating to the party. Actually, the way that the combat system works in Final Fantasy 13, if your party leader is downed, then the whole battle is lost. So it's very important that you equip pain dampeners in this battle and white capes to avoid getting debuffed effects from its signature attack. Another thing you could try is using a stagger lock or quick stagger on one of your party members. This will allow you to get the enemy into stagger much more quicker, and due to the low health of him, it will make the battle go much smoother. See, if you can't defeat him before he gets attacks in, what I would suggest is obviously putting someone into Sentinel ability, as this will dampen the damage even more. When you do defeat him, you actually get the Florophobe trophy, which is quite nice. Number 8, we have Brennhilde. The reason this battle is in this list is due to Sazh not actually being very well complemented by Vanille. Added to the fact that this is also an Eidolon fight, so obviously you get doom put on you straight away. What I would suggest in this fight is that you get Sazh to actually cast haste and Infrost on himself, as well as applying vigilance on both him and Vanille. The stagger bar does fill up quite quickly in this fight, so using Sazh with attack and blitz does help greatly. Party members have haste. I'd also use Vanille as your healer. This avoids any extra damage that you might get, but the best option is really to defeat this enemy as quickly as possible. Number 7, we have Cid Reigns, Cid being a name that's synonymous with the Final Fantasy series. Being the commander of the Sanctum's cavalry, he transforms into a Lasif after defying his focus, aiding the party so that they may destroy Cocoon as per the Foul Seas plans. What follows next is one of the most challenging fights in the game. What I would suggest with this one is, before entering the battle, have the party enhance with Photosil and Aegisil before the battle. Also ensure that you have quite a few Phoenix Downs, because you'll probably need them. Due to Reigns casting Doom 20 minutes after the fight, what I would suggest is you staggering him as quickly as possible. So having Ravengers in your team is a brilliant idea. He is also susceptible to slow, which would help you out as well here. However, he will remove this status when he gets into his healing stages. He does have devastating physical attacks as well as powerful magical ones as well, hence the Phoenix Downs. You could always switch out for a medic, however this will slow down you staggering him, which makes the fight longer, and obviously with the time limit can hinder you quite a bit. At number 6, we have Asta Plotoforain. With this one you only actually have Lightning and Hope in your party. What makes this battle difficult is that the fact that it has powerful magic of its own, as well as able to change its own affinities every couple of minutes, meaning that the weakness that it has will constantly change, meaning that you'll have to change up your strategy. The key to this one is watching its affinities change and learning the pattern of it, and once you've done this a few times, the battle becomes infinitely more easier. Once you do learn this pattern and get the enemy into stagger mode, you can actually start really doing damage to the enemy. Use Launch on Lightning's commando role to help you out there. And however, the enemy will not be defeated probably in its first stagger, depending on your levels. The other option that you have is use Odin while the enemy is in stagger mode. This will allow you to just constantly chain attacks on him and do overall much more damage. At number 5, we have Orphan, the fal'Cie tasked with providing power used by Eden to keep Cocoon afloat. Being the last boss fight in the entire game, there's no surprise that it's on this list, and it can provide an interesting challenge. In its final form, Orphan is an impressive level 51 and has an HP level of 3,390,000. Make sure you have quite a lot of Phoenix Downs for this fight, as they do heal a lot more HP than Raze does, and also they're infinitely more quicker. Or another thing that I would suggest in this fight, that Orphan is susceptible to poison, so this would be a great way to knock down HP points on him. Be careful though, as he does cast Doom, and he can inflict instant death on party members. Number 4, we have Ducker, the flying pulse fal'Cie that the party spots as soon as they arrive on the land. This one again will cast Doom on you after 20 minutes, so it's best to stagger it as quickly as possible. Ducker is actually susceptible to Deprotect and Imperil, which will help you out if you take advantage of this. Another strategy that you could use is casting In Fire on your party, as this will allow you to deal double damage with every hit. Another thing that I've found that really helped with this fight is having Fang in my party, as she had the ability to cast Slow on Ducker. Number 3, we have the 2 Rake Tavajas. These can be fought as an optional mission through the Sleef Zone Mission 62. You'll need a Flying Chocobo, however, if you wish to reach them. You can only hurt these enemies while they're in stagger mode, which makes them particularly challenging. Main bonus also accumulates at really slow pace. This makes them even challenging with just one single one, but in this fight you actually have to fight 2 of them. One saving grace here is the Rake Tavaja only uses magic-based attacks, so having a magic dampener synthesized ability is really helpful here. Other important status elements that you will need to do is have the party buffed with Haste and Shell, and use the debuffs Slow and Imperil. This fight is always a tricky one, however using the status effects will make it infinitely more easier. At number 2, we have Barton Tandalus. Now, this list would not be complete without this enemy. Most people I speak to about the game really hate this one. Being the main antagonist in the game, it's not a surprise that his boss fight is particularly hard. This oppressive fal'Cie is fought several times throughout the game, and is always pretty challenging in all the fights. Again, like a lot of enemies on this list, he also casts Doom on the party, which is devastating to you sometimes, as it can take a very long time to defeat him, especially when you fight him on that bridge. I won't go through too many strategies here, as it would take too long, and this video is already long enough as it is. However, make sure that you do use Slow and Haste like some of the other enemies on this list, as it does make it incredibly more easier. And obviously do go online and check some of the strategies, as he can be very hard to beat. Let me know in the comments down below how many of you actually gave up on this fight, as I've heard that it's a lot online that a lot of people did quit the game after fighting Barton Tandalus. Number 1, and definitely the most hardest boss fight in Final Fantasy 13, is Atticus, the Soulless One, of the undying Lasif that roam Grand Pulse. This Lasif is said to be fueled by pure rage, which you really do feel in the game when it delivers its destructive physical attacks. In fact, most of the time it will knock out a single character in a single hit. This makes it particularly challenging in Final Fantasy 13. As you know, the party leader, once knocked out, it's game over. So obviously with this, you need to make sure that you have all the buffs on, and make sure that you do check strategy guides online, as this one is not for the faint of heart. To actually fight Atticus, you will have to have cleared all the Lasif missions that have come before it. So this does really help in terms of experience level, as you should know all your buffs and debuffs by this point. There you have it, my list for the top 10 hardest boss fights in Final Fantasy 13. Did you struggle with them? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if there's any that you would have added to the list. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for listening.